Silly season finally seems to be drawing to a close, with Hulkenburg confirmed at Haas and Daniel and Mick fighting for reserve driver spots. It all seems to be slowing down a bit. Well, not quite. Vettel's retirement prompted a flurry of moves in the F1 world, with Alpine being embarrassed by Oscar Piastri. Alpine reacted to their shortcomings with some pretty brutal moves. Who have Alpine now shifted the blame on, and who lost their job? What is the latest on Daniel? Is it Red Bull or Mercedes? Or is he even looking to stay at McLaren? Seeing as Vettel started this merry-go-round, stick around to the end to find out who he thinks is the biggest natural talent he's faced. Trust me, it's not who you think. Haas team principal Gunther Steiner revealed he went to speak to Daniel Ricciardo about a possible 2023 drive even before his McLaren contract was ended prematurely, but he did not respond to his calls. Ricciardo admits himself he has not been at the peak of his form for much of the year so far, and such were his struggles in matching Lando Norris at McLaren. The team moved to replace him with 2021 Formula 2 champion Oscar Piastri for next season, poaching him from Alpine's junior ranks. This puts an early end to Ricciardo's 3-year deal with McLaren, with team CEO Zak Brown having previously acknowledged they have written a big check to pay off the Australian's contract to bring his younger compatriot to the team. But regarding move to stay in Formula 1, Ricciardo has turned down the opportunity to move to Haas, with the 8-time race winner having held out for a front-running car, even if it means taking a year on the sidelines in 2023. This is what has transpired in the end, with the former Red Bull driver said to be in talks with his former team, as well as Mercedes, over a reserve role for next year, though his future is yet to be decided. But even before McLaren opted to replace Ricciardo, the Haas team principal said he had looked to speak to him about partnering Kevin Magnussen next year. Though because of the form he has shown, he admitted such a move would have been a gamble. In the beginning, I reached out. Before the McLaren thing happened, I reached out to see what he was doing next year. But then we didn't go anywhere. Steiner told media, including Planet F1 in Abu Dhabi. He never spoke with me. He still doesn't speak with me. And he better not after last weekend when he crashed into us. So I don't answer the phone call anymore. Danny this year, obviously he didn't do well, otherwise he would still be at McLaren. So I think we have to consider that one as well. We would have known that in the moment is not the height of his career, and I still don't get it, because I think he's a very good driver, because he's won races with Red Bull. He was very good, and this year it just didn't come together. So if you take somebody like this, you take the risk. Can you bring him back or not? However, McLaren team principal Andreas Seidel has hinted that Ricciardo could be retained as the team's reserve driver next season. That's a discussion we didn't have yet, Seidel stated. It's a discussion we would usually have in the winter.
That is massive disappointment for the British crowd!
As you know as well, we have an agreement in place with other teams as well in order to share reserve drivers. Again, there is absolutely no hard or bad feelings between Daniel and us, therefore anything is possible. It is clear that with Daniel leaving the team, we are losing not just a great driver but also a great personality, and he will be deeply missed in the team. That is why we are both committed to making sure that in these last races we are doing together, that we are still trying to put in some good performances in order to finish our journey together on a high. I don't want to go into any speculation of what he is doing next, but in the end, whatever he is doing next, wherever he is a next driver, that's exactly what his next team or employer will get. A great driver and a great personality. Taking things a bit back, the Alpine Formula 1 team has fired a key legal figure who was involved in the loss of Oscar Piastri to McLaren for 2023. After Fernando Alonso left Ferrari in August to join Aston Martin to replace Sebastian Vettel, the team hoped to replace him with junior and reserve driver Piastri. He publicly turned down the offer, stating that he would not be driving the Enstone squad alongside Esteban Ocon. Piastri had already signed a deal to join McLaren by this point in early August, having never put pen to paper on a potential race drive with Alpine due to repeated failures in the contract process, with the contract recognition board's ruling exclusively revealed by Racing News 365. Alpine has now responded by releasing Bénédicte Mercer, Director of Legal Affairs, from her duties. With the loss of Piastri, Mercer could not negotiate a contract that would bind him to a race seat, with Alpine's roadmap of loaning him out to Williams for 2023 and possibly 2024 proving unpalatable to him and boss Mark Webber. In the worst-case scenario, Piastri may not have driven for Alpine until 2025, believing that a role at McLaren was the best option, which morphed into a full race seat alongside Lando Norris after Daniel Ricciardo agreed to an early termination of his contract due to poor performance. Sebastian Vettel has faced some heavy hitters over the course of his 15 years in Formula 1, but one driver ranks above them all when it comes to natural talent as far as the four-time world champion is concerned. Among his own teammates, Vettel had to contend with Mark Webber and Daniel Ricciardo at Red Bull and with young gun Charles Leclerc at Ferrari. But on the eve of his retirement from the sport this weekend in Abu Dhabi, as he looks back on his life and times as a Grand Prix driver, Vettel singled out one man whose natural flair and genius has impressed him the most. I think Kimi Räikkönen is actually the biggest natural talent I've come across ever, Vettel told F1's Tom Clarkson on the latest Beyond the Grid podcast. Just in terms of raw speed, I think, and it shows in the car, obviously, but it shows also in any other form of car. I think switching, if there was a discipline of switching cars every day, after 10 days he would be lapping everybody else.
Ricciardo ahead of Raikkonen, then Nico Hulkenburg, and then comes the Sauber of Charles Leclerc. Valtteri Bottas pursues.
Just because he's just a natural, it doesn't take time to adapt to the car, to what the car requires. If you give him a steering wheel, he knows what to do with it. Sometimes you feel it's unfair. You need to get used to it first and get an idea of the track or the conditions, but for him, it's just boom. Vettel raced alongside Raikkonen at Ferrari for 4 seasons, and amidst the relationship he enjoyed with the Finn during that period was the best he's ever had with a teammate in F1. I think with him I probably had the best relationship out of all the teammates I had, because he was just so straightforward, explained F1's future retiree. There was never an argument. If we crashed into each other, we talked about it, fixed what happened, maybe laughed about it. But there was never a question that anything could sort of shake up or destabilize the, I don't want to say bond, but the relationship we had. He's been probably also the one when I came in. I remember he was so respectful from the day I walked in, looking into my eyes. With other drivers, I felt, okay, I'm shaking hands, I'm saying hello, but actually the guy's not present, he's not here. With people, I think Kimi's been exceptional. Lewis Hamilton has backed his former championship rival Sebastian Vettel to make an F1 comeback after his retirement at the end of this weekend's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We always had such great battles, honestly. I was just sitting here thinking most drivers are coming back, like he's coming back, Hamilton said in Thursday's FIA press conference in Abu Dhabi. You're probably going to come back. We're seeing other drivers coming back. So I'm sitting here kind of accepting, yes, it's your last race, but you'll be back. F1 has a way of sucking you back in. We've noticed that from so many other drivers. Vettel joked in response to Hamilton, we can make a deal, we can speak outside. When you want to get away from F1, I will come back. What do you think about all the drama in the F1 world? Comment below.